Good morning, mommies. We are back here again with my pal, Meredith Lynch, my absolute favorite. Today on the show, Trump's reflecting pool project is not going well. It's already peeling and everybody has thoughts. It's like a comedy waiting to happen. There are new updates in the Nancy Guthrie case that has everybody in a tizzy, and we've got thoughts. And then we're going to check in on the World Cup because everybody's having a vibe. And a little bit later, we're going to have on California Representative Sara Jacobs, who is a congresswoman, and we are going to talk to her about the anniversary of the Dobbs decision. She's our age and like has a lot to say about reproductive health, so I'm really excited to talk to her about that.
She's actually a little younger than me.
Okay, well, as you all know, everybody is older than me since I'm Gen Z. No, we're the exact same. This is like an inside joke, but I will share you all in on it. Her team said, oh, she's 37, so she's of reproductive age, and I'm obsessed with people being younger than me, and I am also 37, and so I need to know what month she was born in order to affirm that I'm younger. I have a feeling she's younger.
Yeah, you are an early
I'm an early
birthday.
I know.
Yeah,
I have a feeling
you are an
this
early
is
birthday.
Yeah, well. Anyways, okay, let's get into it because
speaking of early birthdays, if you mean like early, like going way back in years.
Way back. Okay. Over the weekend, videos started surfacing of major issues at the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. As you'll remember, Trump had this big restoration project. It was supposed to cost $1.8 million. It went all the way up to $14.2 to $14.7 million. He gave a no contract bid, which means that like he didn't take a bunch of different offers and vet them to somebody who'd done
Which,
work
like,
for him.
often you are made to do in government.
I think in everything.
Well, no, not really in everything.
Yeah, I guess
like
not.
if we're doing work in your apartment, I don't need to go.
That's
get
true.
bids
I know,
from,
but
like,
I do. I look at all the task rabbits and
you
I'm
own
like,
a place. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
when I restore my personal reflecting pool, I do bids.
Right. So, and it was somebody that has worked on Mar-a-Lago too.
Yes,
So it was kind of like, it
was
felt like, oh, you're giving your buddy
okay.
a job.
But I feel like this was a big thing. Everybody was talking about the reflecting pool restoration and the color, the American flag blue. And then not 2 days later, the paint is peeling. There's algae everywhere. I saw this horrific picture of a baby duckling that had died in it. I know. It super bummed me out. I hated that so much.
I mean, that could just be,
Hey.
the fragility of
Baby ducklings.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, I don't know. I blame it on Trump. I blame it on Trump. But okay, we have a clip. Somebody asked him about like what's going on here, and here's what he had to say.
We have I think 290, 300-foot slit right through it, probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind. Or we had people lifting up the basic, it's not a lot of damage, but we'll probably have to let the water out and refix it. They went in there with a knife. I was just told by the people over at Parks, they have 5 people are arrested and 5 people are under investigation right now. And it's a sad thing. In addition to that, we put brand new, beautiful grass all around. They put these massive letters on the grass. You probably
Okay.
What do the letters and numbers mean?
What do you mean the letters and numbers?
Like the people have been like putting
They
these
probably
letters
got that from
on the
the
grass.
British
He just was
colony.
talking about it.
Now, here, Vienna, can we pull this down?
Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. What
We'll be
strikes
back with that on Friday.
Yeah, right. What strikes me is that they are just arresting people for
Well,
this.
I had a very interesting conversation with somebody about this.
Tell me.
And they were talking to me about how it's the park police have been arresting people because that's who would
Yeah,
arrest these people.
right.
And, they were saying that the park police are really right now kind of caught between a rock and a hard spot because if they don't go with this, with what Trump is doing and
Yeah.
arrest these people who are like, people are like putting their hands in and
Sure,
peeling off, picking
yeah.
off some of the paint, et cetera.
Have you met children?
Right. But also adults and picking off some of the paint. They were like, if they don't arrest these people and take this like super seriously, then he's going to go after the park police. And
for sure.
And they're already like a
Underfunded,
place that's like underfunded
Yeah.
and don't get the same sort of respect.
That's
and
a good
so I
point.
think like, you know, at the one hand, you're kind of like, well, why are the park police like arresting people for this? And it's like, okay, well, you know what? You guys are going to be out of a job if you don't enforce. And that's when I'm like, this is when it feels like North Korea.
That's what I was going to say, is this whole thing is like super Kim Jong-un vibes. It's like he had this restoration project. You know, like he loves doing these things. His whole thing is, you know, arcs and, you know, gilded and this, that, and the other. He does this big project. It's more expensive than he expects. He gives it to a friend. And then for it to, like, immediately fall apart. Like, it is comical that it, you know,
I guess my question is like, did it need a renovation? That's, you know, like, let's just start at the baseline. Did it need a renovation? Because all of these things need maintenance. I've been to DC many a times where I'm like, oh, that whole thing's closed down. They're they're redoing the grass on that, whatever. So everything does need to be updated. Now, I don't know. What I'd like to know is, did it need a facelift? Which, you know, these things tend to need. Or was this literally just about like, making it the crazy blue water that he wanted to make it. And in order to do that, you have to do a lot of other stuff. But now they're saying they're going to need to drain it.
I know.
And they're going to need to do all this work on it. And so I guess my thought at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is, I thought the whole thing, one of the reasons people voted for Trump was because they hated the wasteful spending of the Democratic Party. And Doge, and we cut all these things and da-da. And it's like, okay, you know, they were mad that we had small grants that were going to like, you know, the countries in Africa to help them with AIDS, the AIDS crisis. And you guys were like, why are we helping them? And now it's like we've spent millions of dollars on this.
I know.
And so I think that's what it, like, you know, we can sit here and argue all day about, I also don't think it's good for the environment.
I also think some of it was just the concept of the 250, where he was like, come to my land, my palace, the American 250, my birthday, the reflecting pool will be crystal blue. Like, I think some of it was just the...
Well, you want your house to look good if you're going to have a big party.
Like,
I get
actually
that.
don't begrudge. Like, I think probably it did need, you know, like you're right, is these things do need to be restored and whatnot. It's just the way he goes about it and, like, in the context, you know, like... I think that Obama had done some restoration of the reflecting pool.
He also did a ton of work on the White House, but that was like real structural stuff that the White House needed in order to like continue being a White House.
Well, and went through the proper channels.
Correct.
That's like, it is a historical place. It does not belong to the inhabitants of it. It belongs to the American people. And yeah, I think some of this is like, it just represents the Trump craziness. I also, that clip that we just played, like, he does not sound good to me.
No,
he is not the same guy.
Like,
even in 2024.
Your grandpa's friend at the nursing home,
100%.
And you're like, I don't think he's going to be here next time.
I
think next time that we come to visit at lunchtime, this man's going to be
not going
gone.
to be here. I mean, like, again and again and again, I say this about Netanyahu, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump. Is like, these all feel like men to me that are wrestling with the concept of death. Like,
Listen, I'm going to get line right behind them.
But do you know what I'm saying? Is like, I do think that these are men that are like, oh, I'm going to die soon and I'm taking the world with me.
Right. Because they've been so powerful their whole lives,
Or
right?
like
I'm
looked for
used to being
powerful.
defeated.
I don't think women have, I mean, I don't know. I guess I think about this a lot. I actually think Ruth Bader Ginsburg fell into this category. She did it in a less toxic way, but I think that like once you taste power, it's very hard to let go of. And as you get closer to the end of life, and that is like in your nature, perhaps it's even
She's
more
also
so.
really fucked up because her mom died when she was in high school. And so that really, her mom had maybe not breast cancer, but she had cancer. And I think that also really fucks up with your concept of aging.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, because
that.
like you never saw your parent age.
Yeah.
And so you have no guidebook of
To
how to
what
do
that-
it.
you have
So
no, like-
not that I'm saying that she wasn't a little drunk on power, perhaps.
No, but it's
I
all-
also
yeah.
think there's something there.
I think
Trump
with
is
all-
just, you know, a complete narcissist.
Did you ever see this is deep cut, but did you ever see the movie Citizen Kane?
Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, everybody's seen Citizen Kane.
I love how she's like, this is a deep cut. Meanwhile, like, I'm like, have you ever seen
didn't
the
mean-
Brothers Solomon?
I didn't mean deep cut in that way. I meant like, are we going Citizen Kane on a
Right.
Tuesday morning?
No,
on the internet?
totally.
But
Yeah.
my point being is like the rosebud at the end, and it's like the whole time he's just chasing that moment with the sled. I feel like that is Trump with the reflecting pool, with Iran, with Venezuela, with ICE.
I don't even think it's that complex.
You don't
I don't
so?
think he's had that much joy. I don't think that I don't think that maybe but I don't even think he can remember it now. So
I don't think it's conscious. I just think I guess what I'm saying is like I think with all of these people, when I'm my most like empathetic self, and like we're all humans and probably they're not lizard people, is like they're probably like deeply fucked up. And some of the things that we see in the world that we're like, why are you destroying the world, are actually just like deranged men who never went to therapy.
ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth? Go to therapy, men. Go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really hard at this point too to deny that he doesn't seem well when he gets asked like pretty basic questions. And, they asked him in that clip, they asked, do you have video footage of someone slicing the 250, 300? Also, interesting that he says there's a 250 long gash along the lining of it. I'm like, 250? Like, it's because he's cognitively losing it. And the only number he can think of is 250.
100%.
And so I was thinking, okay, he's like, okay, the guy, the reporter asks, I don't know who that is, but I've seen him before. And he asks, do you have video of that?
Yeah.
I mean, we have video of
literally everything.
We have video of me walking my fucking dog,
I was going to say, the videos that exist of me.
Right? So I'm just like, I'm sorry, you don't have any like, oh, we taped over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think I taped the X-Files over that.
So and he can't even give a straight answer.
Yeah.
So
it's also like he was, even in 2024, he had like a different vigor. Like sometimes you see videos of him, especially in 2016, but even in 2024 where you're like, yeah, I can like he was like this like vibrant person, not for me, and like scary in a lot of ways, and still nutty, but he was vibrant in a way that now it feels like they just sort of like wheel him out and he's like, 250, and then they're like, wheel him
it's
back
cumulative too. Like before he had like 4 years to kind of reset, decompress, and
so
now
true.
like, then he was kind of like gearing up. That was Friday night. Now he's like,
Well, and the presidency ages you, like all of them.
Yeah.
Like all these men.
no.
I mean, talk about, people who hang on to power. Joe Biden,
I was at a mic last night and I'm working on a joke where I'm like, oh, I'm having a Joe Biden summer, like a summer 2024 Joe Biden summer.
Wait,
like,
tell me more.
I'm sleeping a lot. I'm not listening to reason. And I'm navigating a complex relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I know, it actually, like, it was new. That was new. I wrote that yesterday. Thank you. I thought it was a pretty funny joke.
I'm so happy you're doing an open mic. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did go to a mic last night.
Good for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
My
Yeah.
girl.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that's pretty. Well, we got a show coming up,
Biden
so I got
summer,
a Joe Biden summer.
A Joe Biden summer, baby.
Yeah, and then the joke gets darker, and I'll tell you off mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's workshopping it. Maybe you'll hear it here
Yeah,
on
people
Friday.
were ready to laugh at the next part.
Yeah. Well, speaking of dark, let's move on to a darker story.
Okay.
Okay. You set us up.
Oh God, this is hard. I mean, this is just another story about an octogenarian.
Yeah.
But there's sort of some more Nancy Guthrie rumblings happening right now. And, Nancy Guthrie went missing, I think it was the very end or very beginning of February, right? And now there is sort of some more information that's coming out about some of the ransom notes that were received by different TV stations. And everyone remembers this is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, who is on the Today Show. And it's just been such a strange case because, I don't think we see a lot of, elderly people being kidnapped. She was kidnapped from her home in the middle of the night. But what's come out now is that a second ransom note that was sent to a Tucson TV station shortly after the February abduction did say that Nancy had died shortly after she was taken and she was, quote unquote, buried in nature. Now, when we say it's the second ransom note, it's because there was an earlier ransom note that asked for $4 million in Bitcoin. And one of the things that people are sort of saying now is that maybe investigators kind of flubbed this one, because when the first ransom note came in, instead of just giving them the $4 million in crypto, which I mean, I don't negotiate with terrorists, but
Unless it's Gus,
right?
your dog.
Oh, don't get me fucking started. But like maybe they should have given them, they gave them a small amount of cryptocurrency to try to trace the money, and maybe they should have just given them the $4 million or the $4 million in crypto. Anyway, this is a very sad story, and I think I feel so much empathy and sympathy for Savannah, because she's kind of just had to continue on with her life.
Yeah.
And
everybody else is speculating about it.
Yeah.
I remember during Easter, we talked about this. During Easter, she did sort of like I don't want to say sermon, but whatever. She did a talk with her church, and then she did an interview about it. And somebody, I forget who was interviewing her, but she said something like, I actually had peace at a certain point because I heard a voice, and it was like, where she is. She's with me. And so Savannah, like on some level, like knew, I think probably very early on, she probably wanted to know what happened. But then to have the entire world be like, where's Nancy Guthrie and what's happening? And is it her brother-in-law? And for Savannah to have to just like peacefully be like, I know that my mother has passed and I will have to deal with that. I don't know, like, and to deal with something so private that is so public is
and you have to use your public platform in order to raise. And so it's just such a complicated thing. And I think, I'm sure that they hemmed and hawed over, what do we do? Do we give them the $4 million in the cryptocurrency? Here's what all the experts are saying. Experts are, they probably had the top people in the FBI come in and say, well, the best thing to do would be this. And it's like, no one has, we all have playbooks of, how do you there's books on what to do when your parent is passing away, what to do, how to raise your kid. But nobody has a book
on what to do when your parent is kidnapped.
81-year-old mother's kidnapped. Yeah. And so, here's the one thing that I hope there has to be somebody out there who knows something. And I hope that at some point they are able to come forward and just to give the family some closure.
But it also seems to me like they kind of do. Like they don't know who or like how, but it does sound like it's like this is somebody who saw that they thought they could profit off of Nancy Guthrie. I've heard stories and rumblings that it's like it was an accidental death,
I think she probably passed away because she didn't have the medicine that she needed. And that's like, I do wonder though, like, so were they like, all right, I'm going to kidnap Nancy Guthrie. I'm going to hold her for a ransom. And then Savannah Guthrie will pay me. Like this is what I think.
It's weird.
I think someone like they've done huge vetting of who was in the house.
Yes.
Right.
I know there was a long time where everybody was like, it's the brother-in-law. And I'm like, we're all watching a lot of true crime here.
Yeah, I know. Like, I never suspected anyone in the family. I
don't know what I suspected. I was just like, this whole thing is so awful. But the amount of people that were speculating, I was like, guys, get off the internet.
Yeah, no, I know. But what I think, this is my theory, and maybe I shouldn't have a theory, but
a theory.
I think that somebody who was in the house told someone, I'm doing work on Nancy Guthrie's house.
I think
she's the mother of Savannah Guthrie. So it wasn't somebody who came through the house and then did this. It was somebody who in passing, even like a year ago, said to somebody, oh yeah, I do work over at Savannah. I do work for her mother.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
And then that person got the idea in their head.
I think so too. I think that's probably what happened. Anyways,
sad.
It's so sad.
What a testament. Like, I think Savannah is so strong. And I was like looking in the comments the other day on a really nice video that she'd done with Jenna Bush. And somebody was like, I can't believe you're back at work. How dare you? And I'm like, the best thing you can do for your kids as someone who's been through like real family tragedy of loss.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do for kids who are developing, and if you're somebody who's going through something like this right now, this is the best advice I can give you. You have to find a way to move forward. Yes, you need to go to therapy. Yes, you got to talk about it. Yes, you got to, but you got to go to work. You got to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever be as okay fully, but that will bring you back to a semblance of normalcy.
Just like,
and it's
what else
so important.
could you possibly... Yes.
Kids need consistency, structure. They need to see their parents doing okay.
And you yourself, like, I don't know what else, like, what could she do that isn't at her home?
Just go sitting in Arizona every single fucking day.
And just like when on some level, like I said, she clearly knows on some level that her mother has passed and that there's, like it's so clear to me.
Also, good God, we all need money.
Yeah, good. I mean, like, if you have $4 million ransom notes coming your way. Before we get to Sarah Jacobs, something a little bit happier. World Cup is happening in your hometown.
So fun. It's so fun. Your adopted hometown.
My adopted hometown. I love Boston. I really do love Boston, especially this time of the year.
We gotta go do a show in Boston.
Yeah.
And we could get McPherson in on it.
That would be super
fun.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's real. I really do think it's fun. And I also think like it's sort of healing some of our relationship with other countries. Cause I think people are also, I was actually listening to your old, bosses this morning.
Okay.
Kara and Scott.
Per usual.
I do love listening.
I know, we got to get them on the show.
That would be really fun.
Yeah,
well, here's the thing that I like. They have this is a plug for their episodes. They have a Tuesday episode that comes out and it drops before this. So it's always great for me to catch up and get some of the news, some of the headlines.
Sometimes they do that with Pod Save America.
Yeah.
Like, what are they thinking about? What are they talking about? Where do I disagree?
Yeah. But anyway, they now I'm just thinking about how much I enjoy listening to that on Tuesday mornings. But the point is, I think one of the things that it's done is heal some of our relationships.
I think that's what all these sporting events are good for.
Yeah.
Is you're like, oh, we live in a much bigger world than the United States. The United States is so self-involved, and to be like, yeah, there's other places in the world. I was telling you this is like I grew up and my family is French Algerian, and they're like the French love football. And, you know, I remember being a kid during the World Cup and like nobody else around me cared about the World Cup, but like my family really did. And so I always have that feeling, you know.
Do you think one of the great things about the World Cup though now is social media? Because I don't remember the World Cup as a little kid.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I think that I had a unique, because I was a third culture kid.
Oh, yeah, no, but it's like a good thing.
Yes.
That now
all have the
everybody has the feeling, and now we're all kind of able to get in on it, because if we were just working still off network television, I don't think we would have this kind of energy around it. So it's like when we talk about, the social media is not good for these things, but like we're seeing these like, you know, people who have traveled across the country, who traveled across the world, come into these cities that like they would never go to, and they're having a fucking blast.
I love hearing like the bagpipes playing.
Yes.
I know. I love it so much.
There was a beautiful note that the players from Iran left in the LA locker room about just like what a great time they had. And you know, I think to your point, I think it's really important for us to remember that like a lot of us came from other countries.
Yes. Especially in the United States.
Right.
Especially in the United States.
And who are we without this?
Who are we without this? You know, who are we without this?
I also love that it like just keeps going.
Yes.
We're just gonna have more,
I
right?
know,
like,
I know. US won this past week, and then we're gonna be on Friday. I'm Team France forever. And by the way, the last World Cup, like the most exciting. It was like it gets really exciting. You know,
I don't know who to root for.
I mean, probably USA, but like I remember last time, like the French were on this run. And with Morocco, and I was like, that's my gene pool, battling it out on the soccer field. And they had this, it was like, these guys were up, and then all of a sudden, like, and soccer is so beautiful to watch. Like, it is a gorgeous.
Okay, I'm
like,
just going to say one thing, though. It's even, I have a nice TV. I don't know how nice a TV is this. This girl's got a T-fucking-V.
It was the first thing that I ever bought when I first had money.
Yeah.
My sister was like, buy a big TV. And I was like, okay.
No, this bitch is over here, like, hosting, like UFC fight watch parties. No, but I have a nice TV. It's sometimes a little hard to watch on TV when it's the really zoomed out.
Yes, yeah, I get that.
Like sometimes I'm like, I'm watching foosball.
I'm watching foosball. Yeah,
so I gotta come over and watch it at your place because you have a better TV than me.
Yeah, anytime, babe.
Thank
you. Freaking time.
No, I think it's really fun. And I have a question. Has Trump really been like tweeting about it? Because
I haven't seen a damn thing.
Because that's the interesting thing is like,
it's like soccer,
right? What's interesting is this is actually a great moment for the United States in a lot of ways, and yet at the same time, I haven't really seen him
do anything.
It's probably stealing the thunder from 250. 250.
Well, speaking of 250, we have with us coming in now Representative Congresswoman Sara Jacobs. I'm so excited to have her.
So excited.
She's currently serving her third term representing California's 51st Congressional District from San Diego. Hey! She sits on the House Foreign Affairs and Armed Service Committees, serves as parliamentarian of the House Democratic Caucus, and she's one of the youngest members of the Democratic House leadership, which makes her awesome. Hey!
Hello. So happy to be here with you.
Good morning. We're so happy to have you.
First off, are you watching the World Cup?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And How are you feeling? Are you rooting for anybody? Are you team? I guess you kind of have to be Team USA. Sorry.
Okay, I'm Team USA. I'm Team
Okay.
USA. I want America to win. And I'm also rooting for all of the like underdogs. Like
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Cabo Verde, Curacao, like
Yes.
CRC, let's fucking go.
Let's
Yes.
fucking go. I love the energy. Yes.
I really did put her on the spot because I was like, "Are you rooting for the USA?" It's
Yeah,
like she
Trump
doesn't
is
really
now
have
going to tweet. He's going to be like, loser Sarah Jacobs.
I want the final to be like USA versus Cabo Verde or something.
Ooh. I like it.
As long as you don't put money on Kalshi.
Yeah. Well, we have an office policy. We do not do the predictive markets in my office.
Good. Good. We love to hear it.
But I also have a hot take, which is that I think that European countries shouldn't be allowed to use their colonies to like recruit soccer players. Like they should have to stand on their own 2 feet. And then like
Wait,
why?
that is a great hot take. That's
Yes.
such a that's a really good point. We were just talking. So my team is France. My family's from France, but they're from colonies of France. And the French team is so good because they're all Moroccan, Algerian. Like it's all the
They
North
should be
Africans.
Morocco and Algeria. Like
Totally.
then these wouldn't be underdogs, you know? These would be like
Okay,
It's a metaphor.
I have a hot take, you guys. This is really controversial. I did say that watching it on TV looks a little bit like foosball, so hear me out. What if I've been workshopping this for years. What if we added 2 more goals? Yeah. So it's there's 2 places that each team can score. We're gonna get a higher. Yeah, we're gonna get a higher scoring game. I think that's
But I feel like the midfield goals would have to be lower point value.
Okay, fine. It's a half point.
Wow. Did we just sports?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually really like this idea because I have a sports theory because I'm a nerd and I was worried about everything. Okay, I find sports that you don't score enough or you score too much are boring. So
Yes,
it's
period.
It's a weird couple weeks
Period.
to be saying that because actually basketball and soccer have been very exciting lately.
Yes.
Historically speaking, in basketball, you score too much. Every score isn't exciting enough. And in
Yes.
soccer, they never score and it's boring. And
That's
so,
such a
you
good
need
point.
sweet spot. And I feel like this would help bring soccer into the sweet spot.
I love this.
I say legislation.
I say legislation.
Let's do it.
Okay, speaking of legislation. Speaking of legislation, it's the anniversary of the Dobbs decision, which super bummer for anybody with a uterus or maybe anybody who lives in America. You recently wrote a discharge petition, which I had to Google in order to figure out what that is, on the Right to Contraception Act, which means that you're basically forcing Mike Johnson not to suppress a vote on this act. So tell us about the decision, what it protects, why you did this in the context of this anniversary.
Yeah. So look, I'm around your guys' age. Like it was in my first term when the Dobbs decision came down. And I remember being just so like viscerally angry that these 9 justices thought they knew more about like my body and my healthcare than I did. Like I was so fucking angry. And so we started working on a number of different pieces of legislation to try and address this. And one of them is this right to contraception, because as you might have seen in the actual Dobbs decision, the justices mentioned the other things they thought should be overturned. And Griswold, the right to contraception, was one of those that they mentioned. And so we were like, we're going to get ahead of this. And so a group of us got together and wrote this bill that literally all it says is that you have the right to access contraception. That, until the 70s, you had to be married to get it. Before that, it used to be illegal to get contraception. And so all this says is you have a right to access contraception. Side note, when introducing this bill, I became, I think, the first person in House history to talk about my own use of Plan B.
Yes.
On the floor. So, sorry, Mom. But,
Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We have to go live our lives, honey.
Listen. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. My dad listens.
Sorry, because she's still pestering me for grandkids and in a
I hear you, girl. I hear you.
I think it's really important and it's really telling that basically no Republicans voted for it. We got a few. And so what we're doing is this discharge petition. It's the way you have to get around the Speaker of the House when they don't want to bring a bill up, to actually just force a vote on the right to contraception, which you think should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because I've seen my Republican colleagues, they don't all have 100 kids. So either they're not having sex, which is potentially likely.
If I know, yeah.
or they're fucking hypocrites and they use contraception too.
That's right. Yeah. I know. That's the thing with all of these things. You're like, come on. We know.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing for me that I think about a lot, and I don't know if you two think about this as well, is like, I have friends who are pregnant right now or have recently been pregnant, and they're like, well, I can't go home and visit my family who lives in Texas, or I can't go home and visit my family who lives in Florida, because what if something happened to me while I was pregnant? And like, they're not trying to travel in times when they shouldn't travel, but I just mean like the fact that we now live in a country where if you cross a state line, you are not going to get the same care. And like, Rep. Jacobs, as somebody who travels this big, beautiful country, I'm just wondering how you feel about that.
No, it's terrifying. Like literally, I represent San Diego, so I fly across the country every week. It's not like the only reason I don't have kids yet, but it's definitely something that crosses my mind when I'm thinking about like how I'm going to have kids and do this job is like, I will have to be flying across the country twice a week while pregnant. And in a lot of these states, if something were to happen, I wouldn't be able to get the care that I need.
Wild.
We actually introduced another bill that would address some of this, which is that right now in HIPAA, so that's the law that covers like all of your medical privacy. There's a bunch of loopholes in it because it wasn't written for the post-Roe era. And so for instance, right now, if there's a state or local law that might be implicated, then doctors can give over your health information. But now that abortion is criminalized, that's like this huge loophole. And so this would protect against doctors from sharing any health records related to pregnancy or pregnancy loss without patient consent, regardless of if there's like a subpoena or a court order or anything like that, which would help at least if you're like literally getting the medical care you need in one of these states where even a miscarriage is now being criminalized.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Sometimes there's things where you're like, I just would assume that would be covered. But of course, we don't live in that country. You also put forth the My Body, My Data Act to protect reproductive and sexual health data. Everything from period to fertility tracking and location data. That's one of the things that freaks me out as everybody has like the Oura rings and like we sort of like are naturally connecting ourselves to company products that track our bodies, but women have a very specific. Can you talk about that decision and what we should actually be like looking out for?
Yeah. So the advice that I give my friends is to try and use a company that's based in Europe because then they have to abide by the European data privacy laws.
Oh.
Yes. I have an Oura ring. I use a period tracking app, but that's kind of what I look at for myself in terms of like data privacy, because the European data privacy laws are much stricter. And if they're based in Europe, even if you're an American customer, they have to abide by European data privacy laws.
Interesting.
But this is basically how the My Body, My Data Act came about, because after the Dobbs decision, I was starting getting all these text messages from my friends that are like, oh shit, do I need to delete my period tracking app? And first of all, I was like, no, we live in California. It's okay. I was like, wait, we need to look into this. There is no protection for that data right now. And we actually know that data brokers are selling that data.
Right.
People actually use that data to, like, they've used it to prosecute people for having an abortion. Because think about it, right? If you take like mifepristone or misoprostol and there's no way for them to be able to tell that it's an abortion versus a sort of natural miscarriage, except for whether you Ubered to Planned Parenthood or you Googled mifepristone or how to get an abortion or any of these things, because it presents the same if you just go to the doctor and need to get care. And so they're looking at all of this data. And so what my bill would do is it would protect any reproductive or sexual health data from period tracking app, Google searches, Uber, Lyft, like any of that. And it would say that that companies can only collect and retain what they strictly need to provide a service. So for instance, your period tracking app can't also collect your location, which like right now they often do. They cannot sell or share it. And you can ask for it to be deleted at any time. So I think it would be a really important protection. I'm hoping that when we get back into power, we'll be able to get it done. But no, it's really scary out there. It's getting quite dystopian in terms of how people are able to access data and use it against people.
That's the word I was going to use. I was like, it is dystopic. And I'm going to let you go. But I also just want to say, like, this is why young women in Congress are important, because only a young woman in Congress would be like, this seems like an obvious thing that we actually need to deal with. That, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of, I don't think Mitch McConnell is out here being like, I wonder what we're going to do about the period trackers. No. Anyways, go.
I don't know that he knows what a period is. And you know what? Maybe that's for the best.
I did have to explain to a lot of my colleagues, like, yes, we track our periods. Yes, there are apps that help us do it. Anyways,
men, can you imagine? Never mind. I'm not even going to I'm not going to paint the picture of what happens every month. But I need these things because I am I've been getting my period for decades now. And every month I'm still like, well, what the hell was that?
Every time it freaks me out.
Let's zoom back for a minute, because this is wild to me and I know people always say this, I can't believe I have less rights than my mother had around access to these things. And then what people's children will have. What do you think the end game is for Republicans in terms of wanting to monitor all this stuff, wanting to prosecute women for having abortions, wanting to prosecute doctors for having abortions? What's the end game here?
The end game is forced pregnancy. It's keeping us stuck pregnant in the kitchen in our homes, not having jobs. And it's their weird, neonatalist, weird
totally
dystopian world where they're monitoring our pregnancies, but then also not allowing us to use IVF or fertility treatments because they think the embryos are, should have the same rights as full humans. And then also, once the kids are born, not doing anything to help them.
That part.
Yeah, let's talk about all the kids in Dilley right now. Yeah. Let's talk about those kids.
Yeah, what about those lives?
Because those are all, that's also the thing is, I might have a child right now if childcare and health insurance was more affordable.
Period.
And so I think one of the things that I really struggle with is okay, you want us to have children. I think that's someone's total personal decision, but we are not a country now that it is harder to have a child now than it was to have a child 30, 40 years ago, 100%. Which feels insane to me.
Yes. Not to mention that in the states that have banned abortion, maternal mortality rates have skyrocketed. And we were already the country with the highest maternal mortality rates in the developed world. So don't tell me you're fucking pro-life. You are literally killing babies. You're killing parents and killing women and then allowing these kids to rot in literally state-sanctioned child abuse in Dilley and other places. It's horrible.
Speaking of pregnant people, JD Vance went on Usha Vance's podcast. The reason that I bring this up is, so he's out there on his book tour. And a couple of weeks ago, during a hearing with Marco Rubio, this is when I first reached out because I thought this was really funny, is you questioned him about these shoes that Trump got him. And all this to say is the two of them are clearly vying for and trying to find their place as the Trump predecessor and competing in certain ways. So I'm wondering how you read that after questioning Marco Rubio, seeing JD Vance out there doing his least charismatic thing. I've never wanted a man to touch my knee
looks pretty.
less.
I will say that.
She looks gorgeous.
Usha looks great in that color. Sorry. I have to give credit where credit's due.
No, it's true. It's true. She's from my district, so I will.
Oh, that's right. This green is really good too, by the way. This green you're wearing.
You look like you're sitting in the Oval Office.
Well, maybe she's about to.
Well, it's just my office here in Rayburn.
But what do you think? What do you think about these two guys who are kind of, I guess Marco Rubio less, but they're sort of in our age bracket, they're young guys who could carry the torch, but also neither of them seems particularly obvious or that they can carry a constituency, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think we as millennials should take a vote and kick JD Vance off the millennial island because I do not want to claim him.
You gotta go.
But second, it's clearly this weird rebrand JD Vance is trying to do, and it's not working. He's so phony that I can't get over the knee tap. I'm sorry. It's just so creepy. But yeah, the knee
Aren't
tap.
You have these people ever met? Every time I see JD Vance and Usha Vance together, I'm like, Do these people know one another, or
honestly,
is this the first time
that's
they're
an
meeting?
ideal marriage.
Fair enough. But no, I mean, I think it really shows like what a sycophantic relationship everyone in the Trump administration has with him.
Yeah.
And like it's a cult. And like, yes, the shoe thing is funny that Marco Rubio literally was like too scared to tell the president that his shoes didn't fit. But actually that matters, because if he's not going to tell the president that the shoes don't fit, he's not going to tell the president that the war is not going well. And like, he's definitely not telling the American people why my constituents, our service members, are still stuck out in the Middle East off the coast of Iran in harm's way. Like these, like they seem silly, but it actually really matters if you have an administration who's so sycophantic and cult-like that the only thing they care about is like the blessing of the leader instead of like serving the American people.
Well, because this is cult-like, do you think that the Democrats, stand a chance for the midterms? Or is it like, listen, people are going to go with the Trump pick? Like, we look at how Thomas Massie, didn't win his primary. And I guess I'm like a little concerned that even though we're all sitting here saying, this is insane, the emperor has no clothes, on the other hand, there are these still sort of diehards. And I'm wondering, like, what's the temperature?
So look, I think we definitely have a chance to win the midterms, and I think we are going to win the midterms. And I'll tell you why, because there is that like subsect of like MAGA hardcore that like will do whatever Donald Trump says and is in the cult. We have seen some peeling though, right? With Massie, with MTG, like some, because he ran on like being anti-war and some of these other things, and now he's not. I think we are seeing some fracturing there, but there is still that hardcore base. But that's not why he won. Why he won is because there were a bunch of people, especially young people, who were like, I don't know, what the Democrats are selling me seems like more of the same, and the same isn't been working very well for me. And maybe I'll give this guy a chance, and it could be worse, but it could be better, but at least it'll be different. And I think a lot of those people, especially young people, are now seeing like, oh no, it's worse. The costs are through the roof, right? Like, if you thought costs were bad before, they're way worse now. If you voted for him because you wanted him to address the cost of living, he's doing the exact opposite. And people are seeing that, but that's not enough. We also need to give a proactive, forward-looking vision as Democrats, which is what I'm working on doing. And actually, I heard you mention that thing about like you'd have a kid if there was childcare that was affordable. Like that's been one of the things I'm working on trying to get universal childcare, because like, yes, this is what I hear from all my friends. Like, we can't, like young people don't feel like they're ever going to be able to have a family and build a life because they can't afford housing. They can't afford childcare. They can't afford like all of these things. And we need to be having like a bold vision for how we're going to address it. It's not enough just for people to see that like Trump isn't doing what he said he was going to.
Amen. Representative Sara Jacobs, thank you so much for being here. This was really fun.
So fun.
I love seeing millennial women in power.
Well, I had so much fun.
Good
All
to
right,
see
come
you.
back soon. Bye.
Bye.
That was
So
a delight.
fun.
Yeah. I really,
so fun.
there is something really exciting to be like, oh, we have power now. Like that's a big deal for all, like it is.
We have power, but we have to use it. That is my concern.
Yeah.
Is like, I do feel like even though we are hearing these good things, I do still see people falling into a lot of these, misinformation traps and, are feeling so disillusioned, or like, are they going to go out and vote? And I mean, I guess the one thing I'll say is like LA turned out a little bit more for the mayor election. I know it's just the mayor election, but like, I do think there is like some good stuff that we're seeing come out of these primaries of people showing up and showing out. And we saw that, I guess, last year, right? There was like pretty high turnout numbers. It wasn't for California, but there was, I don't know, I forgot. But anyway,
it is good. Show up and show out. And I totally, we've talked about this before, is what she said is exactly true. Is the people that I talked to as I was like, in 2024 who were pro-Trump, who are young people, were for the most part saying exactly this, is like, I think the Democrats are going to be more of the same. At least Trump will be different. And they distinctly thought he was going to end the forever wars. Like that's
we should have had a fucking open primary.
Oh,
like it really, like that'll be the thing.
Yes.
When kids learn about this time in history, that will be the thing that they say. They'll be like, I can't believe they didn't have an open primary.
Yes. Why? What were they doing? I know. And we all knew it. And I remember, anyways, Joe Biden should have dropped out so much sooner. We should have had a primary.
God, I remember making a video. It must have been right around this time.
Yeah.
And saying, pick somebody else. And everyone people were nasty to me.
That's the thing is the internet has become a place like there's ways in which it's a great place to exchange ideas and like connect with people who are different. And then there's also like a cult mentality where it's like you're wrong and you can't talk about this and and I hate that.
How dare you even express the
question,
view?
yes.
And that's why I'm so glad we have this show because we can like talk things out.
Yes.
And we can also like get other people's perspectives.
And you yourself, like one of my favorite, it's hard, but I love learning. I know this is like super nerdy, but I love being like, oh, you know what? Actually, I thought this way. And then somebody gave me different new information and now I think differently. Like that's that's a good, healthy thing to do.
When someone says, like for me, when I say, I think Joe Biden should step down, which actually, it would have been a totally reasonable thing to do now, and now everybody gets it, right? When I said that, instead of saying like, hey, Meredith, like I'm interested as to why you feel that way, people were just like, you're MAGA, you want to ruin the Democratic Party. Yeah, like fucking Meredith Lynch in her one-bedroom apartment's going to ruin the Democratic Party.
One of my favorite, this was like kind of like a controversial essay, but Zadie Smith did an essay in the New Yorker called Shibboleths, and this was during like the height of the protests about Gaza, and they were the whole thing was about this concept of the word shibboleth, and I'd never heard the word before.
Don't know it.
Yeah. So the concept is just like shibboleths are like basically like thought terminating cliches, words that are meant to make you like in or out, wrong or bad, and like politically specifically. And so like one of them is like you lib, and it's like I'm not a lib. I just like believe in democracy.
Well, I think
and want
I'm
to make
liberal.
that work. I think I always say that I'm a progressive with leftist ideals and like centrist practicality.
She's acting like fucking people are coming up to her on the street. Rebecca Sananès.
They are in my comment section.
Okay, what's having a moment for you?
The opposite of whatever this energy is, which is Korean spas. Korean spas here in LA. If you are not in LA, this is like a thing. There's like a huge Korean diaspora. And like, I actually believe that LA has the largest number of Korean nationals outside of Seoul in the entire world. I know, isn't that fascinating? But one of the things that we get here, other than amazing Korean food, is Korean spas that are open 24 hours a day. That like my favorite one, you pay $30 and you just like sit there and melt. And then there's like food upstairs. And it is like my favorite, like low.
Do you just go in different rooms or do you get treatments?
Well, you can get so I went all out this weekend. But so what it is, the one that I go to, which I'm not going to tell you because if you saw me there, no, you didn't. You go downstairs, it's gendered.
Why, what were you doing?
I just don't want people to, like.
She was cruising.
I was cruising. That's right. Exactly. No, I was. Everybody's naked. So
no,
it's gendered, but like, there's trans people and, but like you go where, it's a very accepting place. And so downstairs there's the steam room and the sauna and the jacuzzi and the cold plunge. And you kind of, for me, like I do this pretty often. So I have like a circuit.
Yes.
And so I know exactly. And then they have back rooms and you can get like a scrub. I got scrub.
Do you have to like make an appointment or can you just like go in and get a scrub?
So the scrub, you have to make an appointment for the scrub, but like I just showed up there. Then I was like, do you guys have time?
Yeah.
And then if you go upstairs, there's this co-ed area and they have other saunas and then also like delicious Korean food. Nice. And it's just like, it is like a perfect solo or girly pop day. I always leave and I'm like, like nice. melty. Anyways, that's what's having a moment for me. Korean spas here in LA, reason to live here. What's having a moment for you?
Okay, two things. First thing.
Something's happening.
Something's happening.
Okay.
So, friend of the show, friend in real life, Molly McAleer and I went to Pop Mart over the weekend because our favorite thing to do is
I don't know what Pop Mart is.
Oh, I'm going to explain it to you. Okay. Our favorite thing is to go to the mall, and we love going to like shitty malls.
Love a mall. What was your dad's name for your future memoir?
My dad said my memoir is going to be called Malls I Have Known. Which it probably will be. Anyway, Molly and I went to the mall and we went to this place called Pop Mart. And like, basically it's like where people buy Labubus.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So anyway, we went there and Molly said that I should buy these and you and I should open them on air because we don't know what we're going to get. Right. So
this is so fun. Thank you, Molly.
I know. Well, I paid for them.
Well,
I bought the big salad. So anyway, Molly and I went and we met an amazing woman who worked there at the Pop Mart named Miriam. And we were like, who comes in here and buys these? She's like, mostly elderly Filipino women.
which is our demographic.
So anyway, there's a whole thing. You're supposed to like really ASMR open the box.
Okay.
And we don't know who we're going to get, but this is Twinkle Twinkle. And he is like a little poop. Like he's a little poop guy.
What does that mean, little
like,
poop guy?
You know, like a little, like he's like a little poop. Like, a, you know, like a little poop. I don't know. Listen, I'm not, what do I know? I'm not an elderly Filipino woman. Okay. But you know what else is having a moment for me as we unbox these? I can't get unboxed. I want to do it like the ASMR way.
I know. Yeah. I'm like, I'm too American for this.
Okay.
Like,
so what we are supposed to do though, no, I do know this. We're supposed to like take, what also is having a moment for me though, is you and I are going to be live on stage.
Yes!
On, what is it? Wednesday, July 1st. We're doing a Love Island comedy show. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excied for this.
I love being on stage. Ooh, and there's like a little note in here.
Okay, you're supposed to do this.
You do this first?
You're supposed to do this. Much like Love Island, you don't know what you're going to get.
Of course, much like life.
But this is going to be a really fun show, I think.
Yes.
I'm really excited for this. And, you know, I was thinking about the fact, like, I was like, I think the only way to, like, actually enjoy life in LA, when I hear people complain about LA, is, like, you got to leave your fucking house.
You got to leave your fucking
house. You got to leave your fucking house.
You got to leave your fucking house.
So come out to our Love Island
it's funny,
show.
For my big TV, I never had a TV ever in my life, ever. I never bought a TV.
So is that why you leave the house though?
But that it was like an LA thing where I was like, oh, it's like harder.
Yeah,
like I never needed one before.
But anyway,
wait.
Okay, here we go. You don't know who you're gonna get. Oh my god! Right?
Wait, this is so fun.
I know, and like
so
you
what
don't
do
know.
you do with it?
Well, you know, there's a lot you can do with it. I don't really know what you can do with it. Mine is blushing moment. What's yours?
Mine is Nerdy Cupid. No, not Nerdy Cupid. When you call.
Oh, I love it. Oh, and like what's on the top here? Like a little
star.
Okay,
friends.
we'll bring these to the Love Island show.
Yes, we will.
Wednesday, July 1st.
Next Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday, July 1st. No. Well, the fall, who knows? Whatever, you guys.
You'll be there. We'll be there.
Wednesday, July 1st, 8 p.m. at Westside Comedy in Santa Monica. There's a parking garage close by. That's like, it's like $4.
It's actually a great little comedy.
You know what? And $4 and
in this economy,
I'm like that. They're basically paying you to park
That's
there.
Right.
Right? That's
right.
what I think.
That's right. Which, by the way, is exactly what it costs to park at the Korean spa.
$4?
$4.
Now we're competing with the Korean spot. But anyway, you guys, come and hang out with us on Tuesday, July 1st. Or no, fuck.
Whatever. See you guys Friday.
Whatever.
Come hang with us on Wednesday.
Yeah, we have a great guest on Friday. Aaron Brockovich is with us on Friday.
Oh,
right,
yes.
And Dr. Sarah Orrick is going to be back. And there's so much more that we're going to tell you guys.
Brockovich.
Yes. Okay, guys.
Bye.
And these guys will probably not be here. We'll probably remember to bring it.
Bye, guys.